about 5 years ago, I used to be a very normal person, no worries in the world, just doing the usual thing. I was a workaholic, in a poor relationship. Life was just sort of going along, just keeping myself busy, and I really felt I had total control, but I had no control because I was just going whichever way life took me. And then I read one day that being a workaholic is like having a mental illness, because I'm obsessed. That's how I'm spending my life. And then I found an outlet. I had a friend who had a lot of issues in life. I thought, well, that's good. I'll help them. So now we went from here to there looking for solutions for their well-being problems, and we weren't getting anywhere. Now we're trying I got on the net, I'd spend Sunday in there looking at things. So I started to have a pretty good life because I was obsessed and I was a workaholic. So I just, life was pretty easy. And then amongst the things, I saw this little article one day about stress-free, and it was up the Sunshine Coast, and I thought, I told my daughter about it. She had a bit of stress too, so we went and had a look at it, and it was a very weird experience, to be honest. I sat there, and I've got to say though, I saw a demonstration, and there's a lady there named Kim Jewell and Deborah Redmond also, and it was so, it was enlightening, and I sort of thought, I saw some demonstrations, I thought, gee, that seems to work, this might be helpful for other aspects of my life and somebody else. And then Kim said, you should come along and see Robert, he's here in a couple of weeks' time. And I remember that very clearly because it's just down the road here in Brisbane, and I sat there with about 30 other people, and I sold office supplies. So, I don't have any experience in this at all, and I didn't know what NLP is or any of those initials that Robert talks about. And so I sat there, and I spent a lot of time looking out the side of my eyes because, these people seem a bit strange. They're tapping away. And if you sold stationery, it's a pretty logical sort of existence. So doing that, it was really a challenge. But I actually went for the weekend, and Kim and Deborah said, look, if you think it's worthwhile, stay for the week. And I did, and it changed my life. So that trip to the Sunshine Coast, it did change my life. And the great thing, though, is it actually changed other people's lives too. And remember, I was obsessed, and I think might have been the first day Rob was talking about things, and I was helping somebody, and I was feeling every pain of theirs. And they felt it too and they knew that, so we had a very close relationship. Mine just closer now in a different way. And Robert said it was probably one of the most profound things was, don't get sucked into their story. It's not real now, it's only a memory, and they're the director, they're playing it over and over. And if you're sucked into it, you're living it with them, you can't help them. And that actually gave me the freedom to be able to help them properly. And so it was really a life-changing and wonderful experience. And my children, who are very sensible, now I offer to pay their way to come along, and they said, no, that's okay. And so they weren't prepared to do it, but that week has an impact on their lives too, because we've got very close relationships. So even though they don't quite understand it, they've all got the Louise Hayes book, and we talk about things and we work our way through issues. And definitely the other profound thing was, and I teach them this, that it's not the other people, it's how we hold things in ourselves. So if you've got an issue, look within yourself, don't look at them. And that gave me some really tough times because I thought, it doesn't make sense, it's always the other person. And so I thought I'll keep at it. And it was really a difficult thing to change that within myself. And I had a person at work I could practice on because they gave me a lot of issues. And they purposely triggered me. They did it on purpose because they didn't understand why I was happy and I shouldn't be, because I had a difficult relationship, I was working too much and all these other issues, and so it really annoyed them, so they used whatever any opportunity to trigger me. So it was a great lesson. So I used that training on myself to see how I could handle it. And in the end, they never bothered me, and I realised that I really felt sorry for them because I knew they had a lot of issues in their life. They weren't going to listen to me, so I couldn't change them. I only changed myself, of course. So through that, going to Sunshine Coast and doing the training, it has changed my life for the better. And I'm here today because if you don't keep working on it, what happens? Now you've got to be active, you've got to be doing things, you've got to get out there, and that's why I come along to Heal Your Body. And I'm in a much better state. I actually have the book I wrote on that first training, and we had to write down issues of our life we'd like to change. So I found it the other day when I was coming here, and I looked through it, and I thought, I'm not very good at making up things or looking inwards at times, so I thought if I have a list, I can come and work on them. So I looked at the first one, no, that's okay now. That one's okay now. That one's okay now. That one's okay. That's okay. So all those issues I had there are now don't bother me anymore. And I've actually moved to a much happier stage in my life, and I've taken control of many aspects of my life which I didn't have control of before. I feel comfortable, and I suppose one other strange thing Robert told us was don't leave a relationship until you're happy. And if you're sitting there at the guy's old station, you think, if I was happy, I'm not going to go anywhere. So it took me a while to process what he's talking about, and I thought about it. Then I realised, I'm not really happy, am I? So I worked on making myself happy, not changing anybody else, just myself. And it's really transformed where I've gone in my life now. And I'm actually in the process of changing a lot of physical aspects of my life, financial aspects. And I've worked on the emotional side, so I'm really in a very good place to go on in my future. And I tell people, friends, I'll live to 104 because it's like recently I was in Melbourne with my daughters, and one of them said, Dad, how old do you feel? And I had to think about it. And I thought, I don't know, I don't really think about it. I'm 66, and I thought, no, I'm as well as I've ever been, so I don't have to put a date on it or a time and that. So life is very good, and I've got to thank Robert and Kim and everybody else who I've had contact with, and Faster EFT has been a life changer for me. So when Kim asked me to come out, I thought, what am I going to say? But don't listen to me, you've got to listen to the next person coming out. And I remember saying, the very first thing Robert said to me was, you know what? I can tell you're a very intelligent person because your name's Robert. So, well, I thought, yeah, that's probably half true too, but no, it is true. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome Robert G. Smith to our Brisbane seminar today, and congratulations everybody and the courage for coming along. Yeah. I think it's fantastic.